They never tell you this part, that the real power isn't in making her miss you, chase you, or crawl back with some half-assed apology. No, the real power is in becoming the man she knows she can't get back. Not because you blocked her, not because you posted some forced Instagram glow-up, but because you outgrew her and she can feel it. You're about to unlock something most guys never discover, the shift from needing revenge to becoming the regret. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to become the man she'll silently stalk, talk about, dream of, and never replace. First, understand this. Heartbreak doesn't kill you. Clinging to who you were when she left you, that's what kills you. Most guys break up and either sink into bitterness or pretend to be fine. They hit the gym like it's therapy, post cryptic stories like it's strategy, or worse, stay friends thinking that maybe she'll come around. But regret is psychological warfare. It doesn't come from muscles, it comes from evolution. She doesn't regret losing the guy who begged. She regrets losing the man who vanished and returned unrecognizable. You don't need to convince her with words. You need to confuse her with transformation. Imagine this. She's out one night, laughing with her friends. The same bar you used to walk into holding her hand. You're not there, but your presence is. One of her girls pulls out her phone, shows your story. She watches. Silent. You're doing something she never thought you would. You're in a new city, with people she doesn't know. You look calm. You look powerful. You look free. She smiles, but her stomach drops. Because deep down, she thought you'd always orbit her, and now you're in your own solar system. Regret starts where predictability ends. But don't get it twisted. This isn't about impressing her. It's about removing her from your mental ecosystem entirely. Because as long as you're doing it so she sees it, you're still trapped. You're still reacting. And women don't regret losing men who are emotionally reactive. They regret losing men who learn to self-regulate and no longer need their validation to breathe. Here's the brutal truth. She didn't leave you because she stopped caring. She left because the version of you that showed up every day wasn't making her feel anything anymore. You weren't unpredictable. You weren't directional. You were emotionally available, but spiritually empty. You made her feel safe, but not alive. That version of you has to die. Fast. You need to become a man who triggers emotion without trying, who steps into rooms with an unshakable presence, not because of loudness, but because of depth, who doesn't chase closure because he knows he was the closure. And this isn't about becoming cold, it's about becoming controlled. You see, most guys think women regret losing the nice guy, the loyal guy, the one who texted good morning and remembered her dog's birthday. But they don't, not unless that guy is rare. And rare doesn't mean nice, it means grounded. High standards, high value, high self-trust. Let me be clear, a woman only regrets losing you when you become a man she couldn't fully access, and now never will. The moment she realizes you're no longer waiting is the moment her brain starts spiraling with what-ifs. Not because you played games, but because you leveled up in silence. Not everyone deserves access to the finished product of a man they couldn't appreciate in progress. And if she had the chance to witness you before the glow-up, before the mental shift, before the dignity kicked in, and still let you go, then her regret isn't even about you. It's about her, because regret is a mirror. And one day she'll look into hers and realize she was handed a king but treated him like a pawn. And you don't need to say a word. Type continue to generate the next part. You need to understand how women operate on a psychological level if you ever want to be the guy who haunts them after they walk away. Women are intuitive. They don't regret losing a guy just because he glowed up physically. That might spark the initial curiosity, but real gut level, keep her up at night regret, that comes from an emotional paradox. When she knows she had access to your soul and now you've sealed the gates. You stop explaining yourself. You stop offering emotional updates. You stop checking in under the guise of friendship. You become a mystery again. Not the fake, aloof kind, but the man who is so focused on his path that she feels like a distant side note in the novel of your life. That's when her mind spirals, because now you're not doing better. You're becoming unreachable. Every time she taps your name, she's met with silence. Not blocked, just inaccessible. The door is open, but you're gone. That's a completely different kind of pain, because now the power dynamic has reversed. You used to orbit her. Now she's orbiting who you've become. This transformation doesn't come from reading books or repeating affirmations in a mirror. It comes from facing the darkest question most men avoid. Who am I when she's no longer watching? Most guys live in performance mode. They want to be seen, validated, wanted. But the man who haunts her isn't performing anymore. He's embodying. That means you show up the same whether there's an audience or not. You do the work when no one's clapping. You pursue excellence for its own sake, not for revenge, not for attention. And the irony? That's exactly when they notice, when you stop trying to be noticed. So stop chasing wins you can screenshot. Stop trying to one-up her rebound. Let her think you're quiet. Let her assume you're broken. Because when she finally finds out what you've been building in silence, she won't even recognize the man she let go. And that's the point. You're not building this new identity for her. You're doing it for the man who stood there when she left, fists clenched, eyes bloodshot, pride shattered, but still breathing. You owe that version of yourself everything. Let her go. Let her think she won. Because the version of you that still wants to prove something, that version dies tonight. You become regret the moment you stop being revenge. You become unforgettable the moment you stop seeking closure. And every time she sees your name again on a screen, in a conversation, in a dream, she'll feel it. The sting of the man who turned his heartbreak into a legacy. Here's the part no one tells you. You don't make her regret by replacing her. You make her regret by replacing yourself. The guy who begged her to stay, who compromised every boundary just to keep her comfortable, who thought being agreeable meant being lovable, that guy, he's dead now. Buried in the silence, she mistook for weakness. She thought you were just licking your wounds. She had no idea you were building a sword. And here's the twist. When you evolve, she feels it before she ever sees it. Women have a sixth sense for male self-respect. The minute you detach your worth from her attention, she senses the pull weakening. The leash goes slack. That's when the panic creeps in. She's moved on. She's glowing. She seems happy. Let her, because your glow-up isn't aesthetic. It's spiritual. You're not smiling for cameras. You're not crafting a highlight reel. You're forging a new identity in the furnace of rejection. And she'll feel the heat when it's too late to stand next to it. Here's the truth most guys can't swallow. Her regret isn't something you manufacture. It's something she has to earn. When you rise from the version of you she left behind, you become emotionally expensive. Not out of arrogance, but out of understanding. You finally realize what your presence costs, that your energy isn't something to be casually consumed, that your heart isn't a free trial. And the moment that clicks, she can't afford you anymore. So now when she scrolls through your old messages, laughs that sounded real feel hollow. Memories start mutating. She replays your loyalty, but now it looks like gold. Your attention used to be abundant. Now it's extinct. She might not text you, she might not call, and not because she wants you back, but because she wants access to who you've become. Too bad, because the door is closed. And not in some performative I'm over it way. It's closed because you're not that guy anymore. You've evolved so far past her emotional vocabulary that even if she reached out, she'd be talking to a ghost, a shadow of a man she once knew, a legend in her memory, an absence louder than any goodbye. And the craziest part, you don't even think about her anymore. Not because you're angry, but because you're free. And that freedom, that silence, that distance, that's the regret. Here's the part that really twists the knife. And it has nothing to do with you posting gym selfies or flexing a new girl or leveling up your bank account just to get even. It's this. You stop seeking closure because you've already closed the chapter. She wanted you to stay heartbroken, not because she's evil, but because it confirms she mattered. It means she left a mark. It means she had power. So when you disappear, not in anger, not in silence games, but in genuine peace, that's when she spirals. You don't flinch when her name comes up. You don't scan the room. You don't check her story. You don't hate her. And that unnerves her more than any blocked call or bitter text ever could. Because now you're not her ex. You're her lesson. And the man who becomes a woman's lesson never gets forgotten. Not because of what he did, but because of what he didn't do. He didn't beg. He didn't perform. He didn't stay in emotional purgatory waiting for her validation. He just evolved. He transcended the version of himself that needed her, and in doing so, he made her obsolete. You see, there are two types of breakups: the kind where she eventually checks back in, and the kind where she watches you evolve so far past her that she never dares to. Not because she doesn't want to, because she knows she doesn't belong anymore. And that's when the real regret sets in. Not the romanticized nostalgia or the I miss the old days kind. No, this is deeper, existential. This is I had him and I didn't even know what I had kind of regret. The kind that creeps in during stillness, the kind that ruins good dates with new men, the kind that turns weddings into torture. And you're not chasing anything anymore. You're attracting everything. Not with games, not with tactics, just by becoming the rarest thing in the world. A man who doesn't need a woman to feel whole, because she thought leaving would break you. But all it did was forge you.